season 3, episode 4 of Be True with Rue. I am your host. I know I might look a little different, she got a little different hairstyle today, but it's still me. Welcome into Be True with Rue. Today I have an amazing guest that I am very excited to learn more about, and I want you all to learn more about her as well. This is a dynamic woman. I'm going to try to introduce you. I'm going to try my best, and then I'm going to let her take over and introduce herself more. You ready? All right. So we have Dr. Ebony McArthur. You are a broker who owns a brokerage. You are a author with multiple books. You are a wife, a mother, a podcaster as well, and a mentor.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. You can tell us a little bit more about yourself. If I missed anything, I think I might have got a lot.
Okay, yes, that was perfect.
Okay.
But first and foremost, thank you for having me. I'm very excited. I've been excited all day to come here and have the conversation, so I can't wait. I know it's going to be a great conversation as always.
For sure.
But yes, I am Dr. Ebony McArthur. I'm the broker owner at McArthur Realty Group. I am a licensed broker owner in Maryland, DC, Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I am a 7-time self-published author, and I have 21 courses that I developed online on real estate, financial literacy, all things under the umbrella of real estate investing, and finance. So obviously that's my passion. And through those things, I, mentor. I have my 501c3 McArthur Group Community Outreach Incorporated.
Gotcha.
Where I host monthly and quarterly events for the community on all things, first-time homebuyer seminars monthly, investment seminars quarterly, our business networking mixer quarterly, where, we've been to our events before. So through the nonprofit organization, I just try my best to educate our community as much as possible. And through that, I do a ton of mentorship. I actually just took a few students on through a program through Morgan State University called Start a Business, Change Your Life. Yes.
Okay.
So it's actually Morgan State in partnership with Howard University, because at the end of the program, the students are able to get funding for their business. And they invited me out a few times to speak on the panel, and reached out recently and asked would I be open to mentor some of their up-and-coming business owners. So that has been a great experience to officially, mentor in the entrepreneurship category. But obviously, as a broker owner, I have tons of agents that I mentor and kind of help them get started in the industry, learn our industry, learn how to thrive and build wealth through real estate. So a bunch of different things. And I just took on the official title as educator, even though I teach all the time. But I just took a position at Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Business School. So my first class is next week, and I'm very, very excited to officially teach outside of just businesses that I own, because that will kind of put me on a global, path. And I do want to just perfect that again on more of a, a local level than a global level, and just talk about some things that people are facing in our finance industry, just all across the world. So I'm very excited about adding that to my resume.
I love that. See, I told y'all I wasn't going to do her justice. You just took it away, and I was like, I know you do so much. I love it. Okay, I don't even know where to start now. That was heavy. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Dr. Ebony, I guess let's start with the real estate and the brokerage. What made you get into that? What made you start that? Is it something you've done for years, or something I know it's not new, but...
So that's a good question, because people ask me that all the time, especially at my age. I remember when I was a lot younger getting into real estate, I would make myself portray like I looked older. So I'd always wear the pearls. I would, wear a blazer and just oversized clothes, because people would always think like, you're too young to give me real estate advice, even 20 years ago. So I always say I consider myself kind of a real estate baby. So growing up, my parents always owned real estate. I was born and raised in Baltimore. I'm a Carver, Baltimore City graduate, and I'm a recent Hall of Famer. I was just recently inducted to the Hall of Fame at Carver. So I'm very excited about that. If you ever go through the Carver hallways, you'll see me up on the wall. But yes, so I was raised as a real estate baby a little bit. Like growing up, my parents were very strict with us when it came to financial literacy. Not just me, but my siblings as well. So I don't have that story where, I started off in a bad situation and then kind of turned my life around through real estate or financial literacy. It's just been something that really has been embedded in me since I was little. Like I remember having my first job at McDonald's And my dad would come to me and I had a little $100 check and he would say, bring that check and sit it down on this table. You know, what you going to do with that money? We need to have a plan. Okay. Yes. So I kind of, again, was raised in that. My parents always owned real estate. I always knew that they had tenants. My mom by trade was a cosmetologist. So, and they're celebrating their 40 plus something anniversary coming up.
Early anniversary.
Yes, in June. So, my dad he always had his own career, but he always supported her in that business. So they kind of started purchasing a lot of buildings to house cosmetologists. And sometimes they would, my mom would work in some of the buildings, and sometimes they would own the building and they would lease it as suites to other hairdressers and things like that. But some of them would be mixed use. I would know upstairs was residential. I would know the tenants upstairs was my parents' tenants. I knew that they owned vending machines in all of their salons. So I always say that I don't remember them ever sitting me down to say, this is exactly what you do, but just even the foundation of, you know, you need to own, you know, you need to have a business, you need to be an entrepreneur, like just saying those things. You need to save, you need to invest your money. Like those things were just drilled in me at a young age. And I just always thought, you know, to make my parents proud, this is what I needed to do. So I went in contract to purchase my first home when I was 18. Because my dad pretty much was like, this is what you do. You don't rent, you know, you have your first little apartment. It's all good. But while you're there, you need to be saving to own. Like, that's pretty much what I was told to do.
So, like, right out of high school, you said 18? That's like right out of high school.
18,
yeah. Okay.
Yep, I had my first apartment. And my dad pretty much, again, was like, you know, you're getting a tax return back now. You're working, you know, oh, you got $5,000 back in a tax return. You know, that's back in the day when you could get like a fat tax return. And I had a dependent. We'll probably get into that in a moment. But yeah, then my dad was like, oh no, you're already working. That's your bill money. But this right here need to be set aside. So I was able to have, you know, a good amount of money at a young age. And like I said, I was always good at saving and budgeting. So my dad always taught me to pay stuff in advance. So when I first, you know, got my first BG&E bill, he would always say, you know, in high school, I worked for a credit card company. So we would be able to get bonuses and things like that. And he would always say, you know, you got a little bonus. You need to pay your BG&E 4 months in advance. So I would always stay ahead to allow myself to have a little more money to save.
Got you.
But that was just the practice, you know, at all times. So it just allowed me to possibly have a tiny bit more savings than the average, you know, 18 or 19-year-old.
For sure. If you had your own place.
Yes.
That's what's up. And I love that you mentioned that it was like really instilled in you. Like you don't hear that too often. Most people, it's like, oh, I was living check to check at that age or whatever, or I didn't even have a job at that age. So for you to have had that, you know, ingrained in you at such a young age, like I commend, you know, your parents, and that's major. Like we really aren't really taught, what is it, financial literacy at a young age. It's like, all right, as long as the bills is paid, we good. Like, no, I want to save something. I want to invest. I want to, you know, my money to make money itself. You know?
Absolutely. So. And I was a regular teenager, so I may not have made all the best decisions about everything, but no one will ever say Ebony didn't have any money.
I read that in your book. She was like, oh, I had money.
I had money. Yes, I always was at work. I was always, you know, if they had extra time for me to get in early and, you know, I could get my son over to daycare or something, then I would go in and get those hours. So everyone will always say, you know, we're not surprised that Ebony has the success she has because she's always been a hard worker. Like I definitely always had money. And like I said, I was always good at putting it aside or putting it somewhere to grow a little bit so that I can have, you know, a little extra money as well for some things that I wanted to do. And like I said, the main thing is I always tried to live below my means and stay ahead. That was the biggest thing with me when I was younger, that I never wanted to fall behind, especially with my situation, because falling behind could really put me behind. So as much as I could stay ahead, if I can even get, you know, my one apartment, if I can get my rent there 2 months in advance, then that's what I would try to do to just always keep myself ahead.
Have money. I love that. Okay. So you mentioned it already, so we'll delve into that. So you were a mom early, so if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that, how did that like change your life? How did you know, mind you, her kids are like super successful. I just want to drop that bomb. I know she'll probably mention it, like degrees, and you just had one graduate.
I had my second son graduate from college.
I cried.
I have one at LSU who's a sophomore, and one coming up who'll be going to college in the next 24 months. She's a sophomore in high school. But yes, I love talking about my kids because I feel like that is kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, because most people, if you know me for a long time, then you know I was a teenage mom, and At 13 years old, I was preparing to be a mom. And I always say that I like to pause when I say I was a teenage mom, because I want people to take a moment to really understand even the difference between 13 and 19, or 13 and 17, 13 and 16. 13 years old, I was preparing.
That is 13. I was playing with an adult baby, probably. That is a lot.
I was definitely still playing with doll babies, but what I will say live on the podcast is, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to health class and they ever tell you that it only takes one time, don't take the scientists for like, maybe I can get away with this one time, because voila, I have a 28-year-old for, doing something one time that I probably did not have any business doing. And I thought that nobody was going to know. I was going to come back to my dolls and be like,
nothing happened.
But however, it is what it is. But, I love to mentor young ladies to mainly say that. So when I'm out at local high schools, I like to emphasize, do not play around with it only takes one time. If you are not protecting yourself, you're not on birth control, you're not on the things, then this is science at this point. You know what I'm saying? So it is real, and you can bring a life into this world. And I'm a living witness that, if you pretend like it didn't happen at one time and you didn't do the things, you can end up with a human. So yes, 8th grade graduation, I was 5 months pregnant. Wow. So I do like to always, I used to be so ashamed to say this. I used to, again, pretend like I was older. I would never say how old I was in conjunction with my son's age, because I didn't want people to do the math.
Right, they would definitely do the math.
They would definitely do the math. And it was something that, for a long time, I mean, even until adulthood, with all the success, I wasn't that proud of, because people would see all the things, and now to come up with this piece of the story, it kind of was like, make all of this make sense. And people wanted to know more. And when I started sharing, I started realizing that not only is that a piece of my story that is a part of me, it's a part of my life, I truly am not ashamed of the situation. It's just I knew that the public would have more questions, and I was not ready to have all of those answers. But I do like to reiterate again that, sometimes people say I was a teenage mom at the age of 19. I can remember at 13 wishing and praying that I was 19.
Wow.
I was wishing that I was 17.
Right.
Because think about it. The main thing for me is at 13, you can't do anything. So I can work, I can now, by the time I had my child, I could get the work permit. I can go to work. I can do those things. But if I wanted to get my own place, I couldn't.
Beyonka, my bad. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
My eyes are watering like a mug.
That's okay.
I don't know if it's a story. I don't know. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I couldn't. So I had that restraint no matter how much money I saved. So just keep in mind that, financial literacy and being efficient with my finances was kind of that crutch that definitely made me not be in the worst situation I could possibly be in. But it was nothing I can do. I could have had $20,000 sitting in the account at 14 years old. What can I can't sign a lease. I could barely get a phone.
That's true.
That was the time before we still had pagers at that time.
You still had to go all the way through high school.
I had to still go through high school. Like, I can't get anything in my name. I can't do anything. Like, I'm really in a situation now, no matter what I try to do,
Right.
I have to pretty much
walk through, girl.
That's a no.
Girl, if you want to walk through.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know.
That's okay.
It must be the hair. I don't know. My eyes have never watered. I'm so sorry. That's Ebony, but go ahead. I'm still listening.
Yeah, so I was a teenage mom. When I graduated high school, my son was a toddler. And what I'll also share is when I went to school, I was actually extremely private about it. I didn't want anyone to know that I was a mom. So I did originally, because I was 8th grade graduation, I was 5 months pregnant. So from there, I transitioned to Paquin School, which is, I don't think Paquin is around anymore.
Is that a school that's like on that little side street?
It is.
Like, yeah. That's
I don't think it's there anymore. I don't think but it was like the school for pregnant girls.
What school you're talking about.
So I transitioned there. Only for a few weeks, because my son was born right before that Christmas break of 9th grade year. So just imagine school back then started after Labor Day. So it was just like September, October. He was born November 11th on Veterans Day. And I did like my 6 or 8 weeks, and the school allowed me to transition smoothly. So I thought it was a great idea to not only go to the school for pregnant girls, but during that time, I took the fact that I was going to be a mom very, very, very seriously. So they had classes for me to learn how to wash my baby, how to hold him, how to properly strap him in a car seat, a stroller. So oftentimes I would be one of, two girls sitting in class, on how to strap my baby in a stroller, because I really wanted to, like, if I'm going to really take this serious and bring this life into the world, I don't want to play. Like, this person is depending on me. They don't know it yet, but they're depending on me for everything. And I don't want to mess this up because the world is expecting me to mess this up. That's the number one thing. So. Like, everybody's
That's why I mentioned they are college graduates.
Like, everybody's expecting me to get this wrong. So at that time, I will say everybody was praying on my downfall, definitely, but it's all good.
As they do.
But they were expecting me to get it wrong. And the only thing I knew at that time is that I'm going to prove them all wrong. So I didn't know the answers to how I was going to do it, but I was going to prove everybody wrong. I was going to let them know that this one mistake was not going to, quote unquote mistake, because society would see that as definitely, you did what you were not supposed to be doing, etc. But I wasn't going to let it define me. And that's literally from that moment on how I moved forward. So I transitioned over to Carver as soon as I had my son. I went back to regular school.
Got you.
And the late great Michael Plitt, who was my principal at the time, I confided in him that I was a mom. And at that time, it was 1997, but it wasn't as popular as it is now to be a teenage mom. So yes, it wasn't, the 70s, but it also was not. Where now, I go up to most of the high schools, there's multiple girls there that are moms. For me, it wasn't at the time. It was definitely something that would have made me stand out and have people, possibly judge me. And I asked the principal on a one-on-one meeting, like, if you bring me back into regular school to transition with, all of the other students, I would just ask that you keep this a secret, because I don't want anyone to know, but I do want to be honest with you that I do have a child. So if he's ever sick or anything, I want you to know this as the principal of the school, because I may need your support. And he was willing to not only promise me that he would, keep it confidential, but also he was very supportive. He would call me down to the office and say, "Is your child?" And I would be like, "Thank you." He would let me get the phone and all types of things. So I will say support systems like that allowed me to not only finish school on time, but to graduate, go to prom, do all the things that everyone else did. But like I said, I'm very happy that my son, who is a product of a teenage mom, he graduated from Penn State in 2019. Because I was good. Yes, he has a bachelor's degree in psychology. He's a 2-time self-published author. He does my podcast with me on Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge, every Friday. He's a day trader. He's stock. He taught himself the stock market. Like, he does all the things. So I'm very, very proud to share a space with him. And he likes to talk about that experience as well. Like, I asked him on maybe 2 episodes ago, I said, "Did you realize that your mom was a teenage mom?" And he'll say, like, "I didn't know any better."
Kids don't know. As long as they got what they need.
Yeah, he's like, "I had no clue." And he said the only time that he realized it is, I believe, once he got to middle school, he was just like, "Why is everybody else's mom like 50 and mine's is not?"
He's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, like, why is everybody else's mom like seem way older than my mom? And everybody was starting to say at that time, like, "Your mom looks so young."
I'm sure y'all got the brother sister all the time.
All the time. People always assumed it. But not as much, I would say, because I was always definitely mom. So I think with my oldest son, I was probably even more mom to possibly prove that I was mom. Where now I don't have to be as, strict with my kids, because they definitely know I'm mom. But again, with the world, the lens of the world on you, then everybody was watching. I feel like family, friends, everybody just was trying to make sure, that I was not trying to be his friend and I was being a parent and all of those things. So I feel like I was a little stricter with him, just to prove, that it is a separation. We're not homies. You have friends. True. I am your mother, and I'm here to teach you and guide you. And that's kind of how I got my business name, The Working Mom, because my kids always are like, "My mom's a working mom," but I always was kind of straight path with him. But But yes, I'm proud to share that story. And if you ever want to watch my children and I together, then check out my podcast because the dynamic.
What's the name? Drop the name again.
Yes, it's called Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge, and we air live every Friday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube.
Gotcha. And I didn't even realize that was your son. Like the whole time, I kept seeing the part. I haven't watched the full episode yet, but I've definitely seen it, and I didn't even realize that was your son. So you just said it. I don't think I've met that. I've met your other son.
Yes, you met my oldest.
Yeah, I met the younger one. I think.
Yes, because my oldest son, he graduated from Penn State in 2019, and then he went off to live in Houston. So he actually,
I haven't met him.
Yes, you have not met him because
I thought he was just some random.
Yes, no, he lives in Houston, Texas. He's been there since he graduated from college, but. That is my oldest son, and he'll be 29 in November coming out. So yes, that's my oldest son that I film with.
That's funny. I did not know that.
Yes, yes.
That's something new every day. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing that and being very transparent. You know, I definitely asked before we went live because I know you share it in your book as well. So I figured you wouldn't mind sharing. And like you said, girls, they need to hear this.
They need to hear it.
When you said it wasn't as common, I remember back in my cousin graduated in 2009. This is just like a little side segue, but my cousin graduated in 2009, and I went with my mother, and I kept seeing like it was a high school graduation. I saw a bunch of little, like maybe 2 or 3 year olds, and I was like, everybody just got little brothers and little sisters. And my mother was like, that's their mother or father graduating. And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And then at the end of the graduation, mommy, daddy. And I was like, oh.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was the only mom. No one else was a mom. So, like you said, it was definitely not common.
About 2009, I was like, dang.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's more forgiving now. People don't judge as much. Just like a lot of other things in the world, you know, people are not as judgmental with certain things. It's more acceptable. But back then, it was definitely like a bright light on, you know, the fact that I was a teenage mom. And I can honestly, I'll share this piece. I remember 10th grade year, I was in health class, and they gave us a project where we had to take home a fake baby.
No, fake baby.
Yes. And this was like the school had gotten funding for like a real, they used to do like the egg at one point, but no, this was a real baby where the teacher could monitor if we let them cry too much, if we didn't get them in the middle of the night. So I had to raise my hand and tell the teacher, it's no way, it's no way that I can go home with this fake baby because I have a 2-year-old. Like, there's no way I can do that.
I don't need that.
So needless to say, I did not go home with the baby. They were very accepting of the fact that, yes, I have been trying to keep it in a secret, but I am a mom. And once I leave here, I have to catch 3 buses to get my son from daycare.
Oh, wow.
And it's no way that I'm going home.
I don't need that baby.
With the fake crying baby
and my that would be twins. I'm good.
So that's really how it came out. And then in health class, when I had to reveal that, I mean, I feel like I remember the whole class turning around like, you're a mom? Like, yes. And then at graduation, a lot of people got a chance to actually meet my son and so forth. But yes, I was just like, I'm not going home.
She's like, I ain't keeping this secret no more. So
yes, no.
That is hilarious. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I was going to ask you, so you mentioned the working mom. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's a business that I created just because my kids, again, used to always say, you know, my mom's a working mom. Because I do try to embody, I know they say, at one point, women can't do it all, but I really do try my best to embody a woman that does it all. Like I have been married for 20 years. I have 4 children. I do hold a doctoral degree along with a bunch of other degrees and tons of certifications and so forth. So the working piece is there.
Okay.
But I'm very, very traditional. Like I always say, you know, I'm more of the mom side traditionally than I am even the businesswoman. So if you see me for so much businesswoman, when I'm, you know, I'm the room mom at the school, I'm doing all the field trips, I'm chaperoning everything. So I always like to show that piece as well because people also assume being a teenage mom, you know, did your mother raise the child or something? Anybody will tell you when they see me, they saw my child like at all times. And, you know, he always went to a traditional, you know, daycare center. And I'm grateful for, I had someone at my church years ago who owned a daycare center, and She welcomed my son in, so that was also that support system that was a huge help.
Right.
But I don't think that my son has probably ever really stayed the night even at my parents. Like I was that protective mom, you know, I was really like that. If I was not, you know, if he was not at daycare, I would pay for the after school program or the after hour daycare until I got off of work, things like that. But I was always there, taking him to school, picking him up. You know, before I got into real estate full time, I did work in healthcare. So I would only take jobs as like a school nurse and things like that, where I can, you know, get off of work, go get them, you know, things like that were things that I feel like I sacrificed so that he would not be, you know, with other people. You know, he always played sports and did all the things that any of the other children would do, because I always wanted to be, you know, homework time, I was there. Breakfast time, he always ate at home. You know, I've always been like that. Always ate lunch that I prepared from home in a lunchbox, sending to school. And all of those things were very, very important to me, not only because I wanted to prove everybody wrong, but also because, you know, I just feel like I am just way more of a mom, and that those values are always, you know, always have been very, very important to me. So I kind of flipped it and kind of turned it into a finance world for women, working moms. So years ago, I used to have a working mom podcast also, where I would interview a lot of working women who were mothers and business owners, just to shine a little light on that aspect of us as women in general. And then it kind of converted into, you know, a business and, you know, a saying and a hashtag and all the things. Yes.
I love it. So you bringing the podcast back? So, you know, put her on the spot. It's like, no, you don't have to answer that.
I would love to, but our focus is Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge with my son.
You have a podcast.
And I'm so happy that I even mentioned that, because people did not know that was my son. So I need to say that more on the podcast, because I feel like I just come on and I say, you know, I introduce myself and then I say, you know, with my co-host, and he'll say his name and his CEO and his business. But I need to make sure that I'm saying this is my oldest son.
Way, this guy right here is not just some random thing.
No, he's my son. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Okay. So, and what, you're in the first season of that, or it's 2 seasons?
My first season of that, and I believe we are up to maybe our 10th episode. Okay. I feel like we haven't really been tracking.
Right.
We started it because my son and I, again, he taught himself the stock market while he was at Penn State, and he started trading and day trading the Forex market. He started teaching classes while he was in school for like extra money, and I was thinking, like, you know, I'm not surprised that this is my kid, because the way my parents instilled it in me, I've always tried to do the same with him. So everybody was like, I'm not surprised that your son is now day trading.
Generational wealth. Yes, I love it.
Day trading as a freshman in college.
Right.
So we can always piggyback off of each other for 2 or 3 hours. And even once he moved to Houston, it was just like he's, you know, far away now.
Right.
So when we would be on the phone, I mean, we would talk about the finance space, things that are happening, trending on Instagram, all of those things. And I was like, we need to bring this conversation. Yes. So, you know, before the podcast, we don't talk, you know, we don't go over overview on anything. We really don't. Like, my podcast airs at 8. Typically,
is it weekly or bi-weekly?
It's weekly.
Weekly, okay.
Every Friday, every Friday at 8 p.m. Okay. And keep in mind, he's in Houston, so it's 7 p.m. his time, so 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Got you.
But he does work. He works. He has a bachelor's in psychology, so he does work with special needs children in the Houston area. And like I said, he's a 2-time published author. He has a bunch of.
A lot. You just sit down. He works with kids.
Yes, he works with children.
He gets it honest, everyone.
Yes.
Clearly, I love that.
He published a coloring book for mental health called Coloring for Calm.
Okay.
He has another affirmation children's book that he has out. And he has a separate podcast as well. He does a mental health minute on his podcast. And what happened was, when I had my Working Mom podcast, I interviewed him to say, like, you know, again, how was it being raised by a teenage mom? Just from your aspect, like, be honest about, you know, how I raised you and things like that. And I noticed that whenever we talked together, we had the highest views. So then he invited me over to his podcast. Which is I Am Brand podcast. It's a mental health podcast. His business is I Am. It stands for I Am Somebody.
Got you. Are you saying brand as in like a brand?
Yeah. So it's I Am EYEAM. And it stands for I Am Somebody. But he also has a clothing line, so that's like his. He always.
He got a clothing line.
Yeah, he's always
following.
I Am Brand.
Following.
Yeah. So, You'll see him all in. He has his own merch. He has a bunch of things. But yes, he is true and true, my son. So
definitely
you can tell he was not raised with someone else.
And he's running for president as well. So, next when he's old enough.
Yes, you can definitely tell he was raised at home with me.
I love it.
But so he does a bunch of different things, and typically when we are about to go live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he hops on maybe 3 minutes before because he's just running in from work. He's ready to go. He's set up. But we don't really have a lot of time to talk because we can just flow, and have a conversation. So we decided to start the podcast, and it's been very successful. A lot of people are like, they love the mother-son dynamic. For those that know, that's my son. I'm going to start saying it more. But those that know always say that they love the way we can converse, the way we piggyback off of each other. They love when I tell stories and he, reiterates from his standpoint, his viewpoint of being, the child going through the situation, as we were starting in real estate and investing and things like that. And he'll even say, I didn't even know we were real estate investing. I just knew my mom was getting these houses, he didn't know at that time, So it's really nice to hear his standpoint and kind of give his point of view. And again, he's the stock guru. I'm the real estate person. He gives, all types of stock advice on the podcast. He talks about stocks to watch and what to put on your watch list, what's doing good, what's doing bad. So I think people like the little bit, the dynamic of both when you're just interested in, real estate and the stock market in general.
And I want to mention real quick, you told me your kids are also in real estate as well, right? You mentioned your son as well. So I love how it's like I said, it's a family business over here.
Absolutely, so. So my second son, the one you have met. So he is 23 years old. So I have my oldest, he's about to be 29. And then my 23-year-old, he is the one that just graduated. So he... my oldest 2019 graduated. Yes, he's 2026. He graduated with a bachelor's of science in computer science with a concentration in cybersecurity from Bridgewater College. But he obtained his real estate license when he was 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
At the age of 19, we gifted him his first investment property. And he also works as my loan officer assistant. So he does the mortgage side as well as the real estate side. And then my daughter, she's a sophomore at LSU. She's kinesiology pre-med.
Ooh, they all got stuff that make money too. They do.
Yes.
I love it.
Straight A's. She's on the dean's list. And she just got inducted to the Honor Society down there at LSU. And she also obtained her real estate license when she was 18 years old. And she works in the business as well. So I do try. That's another thing we talk about on the podcast where I asked my kids 2 episodes ago, I said, listen, people want to know that we make you guys get into
because that's what it's giving Joe Jackson a little bit. I ain't want to say it. Like,
they always ask that. They're like, are your parents forcing you to do this? They always want to know that. So I actually love when we have the business network and mixers, especially the summer mixers, then my kids are typically there. So people will always walk up to them, question them, talk to them. And I've had someone come to me before and said, after I talked to your kids, and I knew you and your husband are the real deal because they are not only very knowledgeable, so you can tell that they are not being convinced to do this, but they are happy doing it. They will tell us how much they love it and so forth. But similar to how I was raised a real estate child, like they were raised in all of this. So they are definitely on board with being financially literate.
And it's their own free will, right?
It's their own free will. It's 100% their own free will. I have so many videos when my daughters were toddlers and they will be at their Barbie dream house saying, I'm a realtor, I have a showing today. Like they would be arguing with the Barbies and things like that. So I would always kind of record them. And anytime we walked into, we went to the convention center. I have a video with my baby girl she's 16. And we went to the convention center for like a soccer tournament and she was like, is this the McArthur real estate building? And she was like 4 years old. So they're definitely not being forced. But I will say that what I instill in them is they don't have to own a brokerage the way I do. They don't have to be full-time in real estate the way I am. They can follow their own paths. As I mentioned, they all went to college for different things, that they do work in the fields, things like that. But I do feel like everyone should learn real estate and financial literacy, and it can go parallel with any career. So that's what I teach them. You can be a physician and
have a whole nother full-time job.
You can be a mental health worker and work with special needs children.
Most
and
realtors
still,
I know do it on the side.
They're mainly dual career, you know, and I use that word instead of part-time because it is parallel in a parallel career. It's dual career. That's what it's called. So you are working this career parallel, you know, alongside of another career. Because you don't ever want to say you're doing something part-time. So it's like, you know, I'm only giving half my time over to this. And, you know, no, it is dual career. You're giving it the equal amount of attention, especially if you love it and you want to learn the industry. But I always tell them, you know, do whatever you love. So as I stated, none of them went to college to specialize in anything real estate related because they do have other paths that they want to do, other things that they, you know, want to do in life. And the same with my husband. My husband is also a licensed realtor at McArthur Realty Group, but he also is dual career. My husband is corporate. I always say my husband has his own career that he has had prior to me even going full-time in real estate. He's a computer developer for the federal government, and he's had that career for 20 plus years. He's climbed the corporate ladder, but he also is dual career in our businesses, in our investments and things like that. So that's what I love the most about our family being in it, because I always try to reiterate, even to other people, you know, I'm not convincing you to do this full time. I'm just convincing you that you should learn everything you can about real estate and finance, and teach your children as well. Because again, we don't know any millionaires or billionaires that are not financially literate and that also don't own real estate. Like, do we know any that we can name? So it's like we don't. Like, I can't even think of
they
anybody.
Don't do it. They hire somebody. They know somebody that
they hire someone, and they have all of these entities. They have all of these properties and so forth. And they want their children to learn. So we should do the same thing in our community, and we should make sure that we are equipped with the knowledge. So that's mainly what I'm trying to do when I say educating our community. You know, people think I'm trying to push them to be an agent. I'm not. You know, I would love for you to be. Because it's a great resource.
Putting that little bug in your ear, but you know, you don't have to. It's funny that you mentioned that. So both of my parents have always been in education, and all four of my siblings are educators. So it's like, yeah, you definitely don't got to push them. It's just what we saw. So in some way, some form, they all have other jobs too. I'm the one that's the only like full-time teacher, and then the other ones, they like teach on the side, or they've taught before and has, and we've all just kind of gravitated towards teaching because both of our parents are teachers. My dad is also a social worker as well. He taught at the college. So yeah, I was like, you definitely, it's what kids see. So it's
you are a product of your environment. So why not, you know, when you know better, do better. Why not put your kids in an environment that you will be happy with the production at the end. So I just try to make sure that not only and I get that all the time when I'm out at schools, it's always my mom didn't teach me, their mother didn't teach me, my grandmother didn't teach me. I wish I had someone to teach me.
Generational curses,
you know, it really is very much there. And that's when I started doing development of my coloring books, because I started being asked to come out to schools at an earlier and earlier age. So at one point, the earliest I had been out to was 3rd grade. So I wanted to be able to have something to provide to the students. So I was like, you know, let me think of how I can do like a coloring and activity financial literacy book for students. So I published that. And then I was coming out to schools and being invited to come out for Career Day. And I was just like, well, one thing that I noticed is when we talk about trades and careers, that oftentimes careers in real estate and finance are overlooked. And I noticed that people will say college is not for everyone. And I truly believe that. So even when I say, you know, my children have done all of these things, I am living in a trade. So I always like to say that, yes, I do have a lot of degrees, but I also am working full time from a trade school. Like a real estate license is a part of a trade school. I wanted to enhance my business by learning business and finance to be able to grow. But I always say that I feel as though in our community, we are directing our children to trades only in electrical, plumbing, HVAC. We never mention a loan officer.
Dang. That's true.
We never mention an appraiser. We never mention
you don't hear too many people
a loan processor
saying, I want to be a brokerage or real. Yeah, you don't. Even when kids say what they want to be when they grow up.
You never hear them say that. And we're in an age, you know, 2026 and moving forward. We're not only in the information age, we're in the age of so much information that people can't tell what's real and what's fake nowadays. So I always say, you know, when we're taking and talking about trades with our young people, why are we eliminating careers in real estate and finance? So I developed and published a coloring and activity book that is focused on careers in real estate and finance. And I have over 70 careers and activities in there that I like to hand out when I go out to career day, because I do truly feel like we are eliminating those things. So, and on top of it, it is 70 plus careers in real estate and finance that are 6-figure to 7-figure plus income levels from an entry level point, depending on how much work you do. You know, you got to put in the work now. I'm not telling anybody they will, you know, I only know how to work hard. That's it. You know, it's not get rich quick. But however, some people are in jobs that will never reach a 7-figure or 6-figure level. And we're not teaching our kids the careers that will possibly get them there. And I noticed that a lot of our young people, they don't always want to be under the sink getting dirty. You know, they're good with their hands. They're good with the computers. They're good with electronics. So why not teach them a loan processor? You know, that they can now dress fly. They can sit at their desk. They can post all the shots on social media. And on top of that, now they can be a 6 to 7-figure earner from a trade school. And then if they want to go to business school and go to college to, you know, enhance that or take some business classes, then they have the option to do that. But I just never hear people talk about, you know, the insurance industry. So some of those things are under finance. I mean, home and auto insurance is under the umbrella. It's under the umbrella of the financial industry. And we don't really talk about those things to encourage our children to even consider them.
And you're here to change that. So
I'm here to change that.
I'm changing that. Cause I never even thought of that. Why? Because I'm in a career that people, I want to be a teacher. So yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm also in a career where I probably will never reach a 6 figures. Like,
so you need to get one of the
parallel careers. I'm like, so let me get one of them parallel careers that Dr. Ebony is talking about.
Home appraisers,
teachers making 6 figures is unheard of.
Appraisers go out and appraise properties. They're in the house for 20 minutes. The rest they do on their computer. And most of the time, home appraisals are $700 to $800 an hour.
That's what's up.
I mean,
well, how do you get started? Let's delve into that. Then I want to delve into your books a little bit. So how would you get started? Like with the brokerage, with the appraisals, with the everything? Like, what would you tell somebody, if somebody like me that has never gotten
so what I always tell even my children when they decided, you know, on what path they wanted to take in any aspect of school or college or whatever, this is what I do literally with my children. I will create almost like a grid for them, and I will put the career that they're interested in on like one line, and I will have them research, you know, what do you need to do to not only start that career, but reach the highest level. And then I will ask them to draw another tab that says, you know, if I have that career and I get an associate's degree, what are the jobs that I can get and what is the highest and minimal income level I can make? If I get only a trade license, how long and how far, you know, would my income be in that specific career? If I get a bachelor's degree, what are the jobs that I can obtain? What's the different levels, starting at entry level all the way up to the max? And when I say that, even for example, in the real estate industry, entry level as a licensed realtor would be a real estate agent. After becoming a real estate agent, if you become a member of the board, that's what makes you a realtor. So people don't understand that not every real estate agent is a realtor. Those are two different things. So in order to be a realtor, you now have to have your license associated with a national board. And that's what makes you now a member of that board or association, is what makes you officially a realtor. So some people can work as a real estate agent and they've never joined the national associations and they're just titled a real estate agent. So me personally, being in the industry, I do like to decipher titles a little bit, because it does mean something for the people that have put in the work and they have done the things. And then the ultimate stage, you can go into a real estate broker, which is another level of license. And if you are not independent or you don't go to open your own firm like I did, you can work as an associate broker under another broker. And knowing what those job levels are, the income levels, things like that, the amount of years of training, etc. So I always tell them to map those things out, and then you can transition to the highest level, which would be a broker owner. So even that, I just went through from a real estate agent to 4 different levels of that career that you're able to advance to. So I always tell them, and then look into it if you wanted to get a master's degree, right? The entry level for that job, the jobs that you can get holding a master's degree with this particular job title, and then entry level on income and the max on income. Because like you said, it is some jobs that you will never make more than 70,000. You will never make more than 50,000. Like you would have to leave this career to do something else.
Or have like 3 or 4 different jobs.
3 or 4 different jobs, or you can even go as high as a principal. You will probably never be a millionaire principal. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You will not be a 7-figure principal. Unheard of. So, those are the steps that own school. No, exactly. It will probably not happen. Yeah. So, that's how I like for them to sit down, for them to know. Like, so if you decide to go off to school and you only get your trade, this is what you're expected. If you decide to add a bachelor's degree to this is now the new jobs that you can qualify for, and this is your income. So that's how I always advise people to really do the research and kind of lay it out and know that if, because sometimes they'll say, I want to go all the way, I want to get a master's. Well, if you don't, this is what, I want you to be aware that these are the jobs that come in this level and so forth. So I always say, just start by doing your research on, what you are happy doing, what fulfills you, because that's the best way to start in any entrepreneurship venture, is to make sure, because most of these jobs you will be possibly self-employed. So sometimes people do want to branch off to be an independent contractor, things like that. And just research, the cost that it would take to, get your business started and all of those things. So that's what I always advise. Start with doing your research, find out what schools locally you're able to go to, how much the cost of the school is, things like that are preliminary things that people ask me all the time. How much does it cost to go to real estate school? And oftentimes people are surprised that you can get your real estate license for like less than $300.
Right. So I've heard. So how long is school usually? Or does it depend on what level of like degree you already have? If you come in with a bachelor's?
It really depends on. Well, you really don't need any of those things. You don't need them, but that's just for your personal use to enhance your business. Because I do always advise, as an entrepreneur, then the trade is absolutely fine. You will do all the things. You will be successful. But I do highly encourage, you don't have to go get a bachelor's degree, but take a business class. You do need to know how to operate or run a business. Get a certification. Drop in class or something is what I typically always recommend when I'm out at the schools. I don't want to eliminate that. However, depending on your schedule, my children have gone to real estate class for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. You could be done. If you want to go, you can go 9 to 5. You can go 9 to 7. It depends on your schedule. If you only can go once a week, you might be there for 4 months. If you can go more times and longer classes, then it's a shorter amount of time. But they do have some classes that are 2 weeks,
super quick,
and you can be done, ready to test for your state and national.
You definitely got to test.
You have to test
that at the end.
Yes, you have to pass your state and national board. So it's not just, you can't just sit online and then at the end, Google the answers. No, you do have to go into a PSI center, and they're going to take your phone, they're going to take your watch. You can't cheat at all. You got to know your stuff. So just know that we are definitely not HGTV. If you obtain a real estate license, these people have put in the time. It's 60 hours in the state of Maryland. Again, I'm licensed in Maryland, DC, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. So those are hundreds of hours of training and certification in each state, each jurisdiction, to be able to obtain the license.
And how often do you have to renew?
Every 2 years.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, with continuing education. So every state, for me, has different hours for continuing education, especially at the broker level. So I have to take ethics class for each state. I have to renew everywhere. And I also do hold an insurance license, which I've had for a very long time. I know I'm letting out cats.
I know. I was like, I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, so I do hold my PNC, which is home and auto. Obviously, I'm in the home business, and most of the people that I sell homes to have a car. So I obtained that license years ago, and I also have to do my continuing education to obtain that license. I pretty much work as a referral agent in the insurance aspect because I don't want to be the insurance expert. I stick to my own lane. I let the experts do their thing. But when you obtain the license, another stream of income is to be able to refer, and then you can get a referral commission if you hold that license.
That's what's up. So I got a very important question. Are you ready for this question?
Sure.
When in the world do you sleep? When do
so
you
I
sleep?
saw something on TV that said, I don't. I really
right.
don't.
I'm like, Lord have mercy. And you got 4 kids. And Beyonka back there agreeing. She like, yeah, I was wondering the same thing. I ask her that all the time. Like, when do you sleep? She does a lot too.
I don't. Is the answer. So, and people will say to me, well, your kids are adults now. I see why you can do so much. And I'm like, well, they weren't adults.
Right, like,
they weren't born 25. You know, they used to be toddlers. They used to be babies. I used to have multiple ones at one time.
Exactly.
But I do get very limited amount of sleep. Okay. I will say it is not by force. Mm-hmm. It is by choice because oftentimes my brain is working at the wee hours of the night that I do want to be asleep. Right. So it's not that I am overworking myself, but I am up often because I feel like I'm still in a growing stage of all the things. I am still growing my businesses and I still am trying to educate my community. Mm-hmm. And I really am in a give back stage of my career is what I consider this right now.
Got you.
I do truly feel like most of the things in my life that I wanted accomplished, I have accomplished. Like if you go through that checklist, you know, once I finished the PhD, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, check me off.
Right.
You know. And done. And after that, my dad even told me, you can misspell things now. You can do whatever you want. You've proven to the world. So I have checked off, you know, that was my last like big thing that I wanted to accomplish. Opening my own brokerage, you know, I used to set a goal list every single year with 10 things on there. And I have checked off the list year after year. And now,
new list.
Now my goal list is just fun things. Like I took a DJ class recently with,
DJ? Come on
yes, I took a DJ class for fun. I'm not going to do a party. I was not.
Right.
But I just been doing things like that, going out to, you know, networking events, shaking hands, letting people know about some of the things that I offer through my nonprofit. All of my seminars are free. So I'm really, again, at that give back stage of my life and my career to say, you know, as many things as I can possibly give back. You know, once you obtain so much knowledge, it almost kind of, again, keeps you up at night in your head that you really feel like you need to get it out. And it was a point in my life where my parents are really old school, where my dad would be like, don't tell people that you're successful. They'll try to hate on you. You know, it's really one of those things that kind of comes with our community a little bit, where people say people gatekeep, they don't want to share. And it's mainly because of that fear. You know, people don't want to start sharing, and now you start getting negativity, hate, and all the things. And I just kind of felt like, I want to start sharing. You know, I've done my 10,000 hours, 10,000 times at this point. I really do feel like a lot of this stuff I can do with my eyes closed. And I want to share as much information as I can, especially to our young people. So going out to the schools, mentoring, things like that is really important for me. Because I do plan on being on the island and not answering y'all calls at some point in my life, you know, at some point. So I don't sleep a lot.
Okay.
My husband is always looking over in bed at night and was like, "Why are you still?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?" And then I wake up with ideas all the time. I text in the family chat my children with all types of ideas and business things and so forth. But I do consider it organized chaos because it is very, very organized. Even though this is what keeps me going. Like I love to do it so it doesn't really feel like work. And anytime that I can do any kind of things where I'm giving back, I'm always going to make time to add that into my calendar. I'm always going to make time for my family, and then being a part of the business makes it a lot easier because they're typically always with me. My husband's typically always with me. But we do spend time as a family all the time. We do fun things. Most of my clients will tell you, I'll share this. So one thing that I do that we have been doing for years is our annual anniversary party. So this is where we kind of bring our personal side to our clients. And we literally open up our home to 300 to 400 people a year, and we've been doing it for years. And not only is it my anniversary, but it's a thank you to everyone that has supported me all year. So I always have staff. I do it all up. You know, everybody, they come in their gowns. Everybody comes dressed, but it's really a time to show a personal side of us. Like, it truly, I didn't rent this home. It's really my real home. It's really my real children.
It must
walking
be big.
around.
You're talking about 300 people. Sheesh, I don't know if I can fit 3 people in my home, but go ahead.
I'm in real estate, so I do own really large. I do live in a really large home.
Wait, how many people?
Yes, I forgot that I mentioned that. Yes, I do live in a really large home, but it is true. We do have hundreds of people that come out, and anybody that's ever been to our annual parties, they comment in the chat and tell them our parties, you know. But that's a way that we bring our personal side. Oftentimes, you know, I'm like, this is my clients. I sold them a home here. They meet my parents, you know, and they come out year after year after year. And it really is a time for us to let our hair down. A lot of times they stay the night. You know, we like, listen, if you drink too much, you can always stay. So we have clients everywhere. Oftentimes I will book complimentary hotels for a lot of my clients. If they want to stay in the area, then I will have room blocks, you know, cover the expenses for them, to really show everyone how grateful we are, because oftentimes my husband and I, we can't even believe that this is our lives. Like, honestly, for me, most of the time I'm just like, I can't even believe this is all really happening. So that's how it really is still so surreal for me. So I just want to share as much as I possibly can. And it's not a sleep time for me right now, but it will be soon, because I keep promising everybody that when I'm not going to make an announcement, but if you see me on an island, you know, in a big hat, you know, frequently, then you're gonna be like, listen, Ebony is done with y'all.
Earned it. I'm gonna be rooting for you. I'm gonna be liking and loving. Like, yes,
I'm gonna be like, Ebony is done. I've seen her in Jamaica 3 times this month. That means she easing into retirement. Yeah,
now she's easing into retirement. I don't even think retirement is probably in your blood.
I don't.
It's not.
I feel like, you know, maybe I'll pass the business on to, it's because my children are in the industry, things like that. But I really do love helping families. I never thought that I would get to that point. I always wanted to only be a real estate investor, and that was it. You know, I started my career in 2005 as just a real estate investor. That's all I wanted to be. I never saw myself. I never saw myself helping other families. You know, find their dream home and teach them how to invest and all of those things. And my husband came to me over a decade ago and said, how about we both get our real estate license? People just assume we were licensed. We were investing. We always had properties. I was a landlord even before I got my real estate license. And I did not want to do it. I said, I do not want to be a realtor. I want to invest. If you want to do that, I'll support you on your parallel journey. And he said that he would not do it without me. So I called myself being a supportive wife, and we signed up for real estate classes together, and obviously the rest is history. But I had no idea how much I would love.
This is like the beginning of your marriage.
So we were married. We were married for a little bit of time at that point, maybe 7 years or so that we were married before we obtained our real estate license. But we were already investors. Like I said, our goal was, I got my first property with my husband when I was 21 years old. So we were trying to flip properties. We were out here trying to, you know, be HGTV and teach ourselves how to flip and so forth. I was 21. Convinced him to get this property that we were going to renovate, like in the Sedonia area, and he was he was fair game with it. But again, I never saw myself helping other people. I just wanted to own this empire of properties across the state, and possibly work with some low income families for housing, and make sure we do these luxury rentals for other single moms. That really was my goal, is to be able to have a safe home that is fully renovated for another single mom and their children, to be able to kind of give back in that aspect. And then once I obtained my license, I never knew the joy when you're at closing and someone else, watching them obtain ownership. And a part of our process is starting people from start to finish, like credit, everything. So, through the nonprofit organizations, when we do the seminars, we're helping people get their credit together. So we're doing, I always say I'm not a credit repair company, but with 5 degrees and 22 certifications in finance and business, I can tell you what you need to do on credit. So, we sit down with them and we tell them, we go over all of their trade lines, and we tell them, literally give them homework for free, and tell them what to do to be able to obtain ownership. And that's a part of our process that we have been doing for probably 13 years now. And seeing people come in the door and thinking, you know, I have a subpar 500 credit score. I'm never going to be a homeowner. I would love to be the first homeowner in my family and things like that. And then see them in tears with their mom or their grandma at closing.
They got their home.
And now they're a homeowner. And now they're asking, how do I put it in a trust to protect it for my children? And those are the things that, like, I even never thought that I would do, because I always was fighting being, you know, a licensed realtor. But we love it. I've embraced it, and it's just another aspect of our career that we have added on. And we still do the investments. We help investors all the time build their investment portfolios, and all of the things. But I do have a passion for just helping our community get started, because what I realized when I first got licensed is that our community does need a lot of help.
For sure.
Yeah, the education is just not there for the majority of families.
Okay, well, thank you. So we are going to delve into your books real quick, if that's okay. You briefly mentioned a couple of them, but just, so what inspired you to want to become an author as well, in addition to everything else? How many books do you have? I know you have a lot. I think I've read, 2 of them so far, but 2.
Okay,
okay. So
so I'm a 7-time self-published author. Okay. One of them is my dissertation. So my dissertation is published. The title of my dissertation is Yet She Persevered, the Underrepresentation of Women in the Finance Industry in Senior and Executive Positions. So throughout my career, I've always done research on women in the finance industry and senior level, and how we are not represented and how those things are not there. So I published my dissertation a few years ago. It's available online, so you can go look that up. But again, I do have other books that I published, and I decided to get into it because my very first book was a collab. So I had someone reach out to me on social media, and they said, you know, we're looking for some women with some powerful stories to share their story, you know, in this collaboration book. So I knew, to this day, I don't know any of the other women. I've never met them.
You said it was during COVID, right?
It was during COVID. I never read their stories. I was just so focused on writing my story. So it took me over a year, and I'm almost sure that the majority of my story, I probably am still in high school. It's a lot to get through. So I was trying to wrap it up, and like, listen, this is a collab book. This is not my.
All the book was pretty much her pages. I thought it was an autobiography.
Yes,
it was like, I mean,
yes. So I went to the publisher at that time, and she said, "Well, because pretty much the whole book is your story,
pretty much."
Then they gave me the rights to self-publish, so I self-published again, but. That was really tough for me to tell my story. And I had several meetings with my children and my husband to say, you know, what should I say? What shouldn't I say? You know, how deep should I go into this life of mine in this journey?
Deep, so.
And they were not only cheering me on, they were like, say whatever you want to say. Say what's on your heart. Like, this is your story. We're not going to tell you, like, whoever doesn't like it. You know, my kids are very supportive like that. So they pretty much applauded me to do it, and I was very grateful to be able to publish it. I sent the manuscript to my children to read before publishing it to my husband, you know, so that they can review it and not necessarily ask me to change anything, but just for feedback and just a comfort that, listen, guys, I'm about to tell it.
I'm about to say.
I'm about to say it. And only one of my children couldn't really get through it. And she pretty much was like, I can't get through that, because she just knows a different mom, and to hear some of the things that I went through early on, she just couldn't kind of digest it and just decided that it was a bit much. It was a lot. So hopefully as she gets older and she wants to go back, and we talk about it all the time, but to read it in your own space, you know, and have it with you to digest. She's in her room, she has a copy. It was just a heavy weight.
And I love that she knew that about herself. Like, I'm gonna just, you know mommy for who mommy is.
And she came to me and we had a conversation about it. And like I said, most of the things we've discussed, but just to sit down and, you know, read it was kind of a little different than us just having that conversation. And it was a lot for her. You know, it was a lot for her to take in, and some of the things that, you know, I have been through, you know, in my journey as a teenage mom. But I was very excited to get it out, and it was freeing for me to be able to.
How freeing was it? Like,
yes, and you know, at that time, the lady that reached out to me to start the venture, she wanted us to title our chapters. And the only thing I could think of was perseverance. So my chapter is perseverance in the book. And after that, I was still in the middle of my, starting my PhD. I think I was finishing my MBA at the time. And then I was going right into my doctoral program. And I just decided to continue. At that point, I said I didn't want to tell my life story in a book anymore. What I told was what I wanted to share at that moment.
Right.
But I did want to move forward with the next chapter in my life, which is where I am now, educating on building wealth through real estate, telling a lot about my story on how I got started, and things like that with the industry. And like I said, being invited out to the schools kind of put me in a mindset to start some of the children's books and things like that. And I am really, really big on budgeting, expense tracking, things like that. So I started a journal, which is my actual journal that I have had for years that can help me stay on track with my finances. And to this day, I have a black and white book. You can go in my house. Everybody knows my book. If you know me for years, they will agree. Like, Ebony always got that budget book. But I've always been really big on that, writing things down to keep me where I need to be.
I think most wealthiest people budget. Like
you have to. You have
to spend. Like wait.
Yes. So when I say, I always kept myself ahead as a teenager and so forth, it was not by happen chance. I was writing things down. I was jotting down, this is my rent, this is my pay, this is what I have to pay, this is what's due, things like that. And I always kept those practices. And I noticed that when I do go out to present financial literacy presentations, most people will assume that when you are budgeting, that means that you are in a bad situation and you're just trying to, count every coin. And what I say to people all the time, I did 3 financial wellness sessions with the University of Maryland Police Department recently. And I asked most of them about budgeting. And I'm like, you guys are high earners and you don't budget. So I always tell people I need my high earners to get into budgeting even more, because if you really want to achieve some of those things of getting properties, getting your forever home, whatever those things is that you want to obtain this dream life, our higher earners really need to budget. Because what I'm seeing more than anything is most of our high earners are in kind of a worse situation because they do make a lot of money. So they're not being financially responsible with it. But yes, my first book is The Fragrance of a Resilient Woman. They're all on Amazon, so everybody go cop these books on Amazon, please. And if you are at any of our events or our business network and Mixer and you purchase the book, I will always autograph them as just a sincere thank you. My second book is Building Wealth Through Real Estate, a guide to a multi-million-dollar real estate investing career. So that's where I kind of deep dive into the fat check, the quick check, all of the things. So you'll know, different aspects of real estate investing, again, how I got started and things of that nature, and just how to in general build wealth through real estate, because real estate really has changed my life and has changed my family's life. So I really do like to focus on that and really reiterate the importance of learning, our industry. And then, like I said, I have, a series, which is my financial freedom series. So that is the journal, the coloring book, and things like that, just to kind of help people get structure in their finances as well. And then obviously I self-published my dissertation. Yeah.
So altogether it's 7.
7 books. And I do have 21 courses that don't necessarily go along with the books, but the books are the books. You can sit and read them, but sometimes people need the video, the audio, things like that. So I do have my academy that I developed, which is McArthur Group Real Estate and Financial Literacy Academy. I work very hard on developing these courses. I am not a course developer, but I self-taught myself, and I was so proud of myself at the very end, where I was just like, it took me like 2 years to be like, I'm going to teach myself how to develop courses. And they're more visual. They, are on all aspects of financial literacy. Our financial literacy course on the academy is free. So you can just go on there, enroll, and click the free financial literacy course.
I ain't got no excuse.
No excuse.
Free.
No excuse.
Free 99.
Yep. And all my seminars are free. Come on out.
Definitely. That's how we met, actually.
That's how we met.
Seminars here.
Yep. And then I have my real estate investing seminar. That's 7 modules. So that's really a deep dive. It's a little different from the book. Because again, the book is a high level overview, but if you do want to visually see some of my investment properties, some properties that I've renovated, my husband and I do full renovations. We'll take properties from a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom, from a 1.5 bath to a 3-bath. Like, we do it all now. So I do actually show in the course a lot of our properties, the process, property management, Section 8. It's a more of a deep dive. So people love the course as well, because if you really want to get serious with it, then you may need a little more than a high level overview.
Got you. Okay, well, thank you. I think we are reaching the end, unfortunately. I feel like I need to bring you back to like part 2 of this. Like, I learned so much. And she said it in the beginning, and I was like, I know nothing about real estate, brokerage, and nothing. She's like, oh, you about to learn today.
You about to
and
learn
you
today.
did not lie at all.
Yes. The truth, and I'm going to teach you today.
Right, that's she was like, oh, you about to learn real. So thank you. I have definitely learned a lot. I definitely was taking mental notes. I didn't want to look rude writing, but I definitely have a lot of mental notes. But really quickly, well, you kind of mentioned it as well, but I just want to know what you have coming up. You kind of mentioned it as we went. So if you want to shout out anything that you have coming up next, shout out your Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is your time.
Yeah, so I have a lot of things coming up all the time with my nonprofit organization. But yes, first and foremost, my IG is McArthur Realty Group. So definitely follow me on McArthur Realty Group.
I've been tagging you as well.
Yes, all things that you need to know about everything we have coming up will be right there on my social media. So definitely follow there so you can keep up with all the things. We do have our free first-time homebuyer seminar on June 6th between 11 and 2 p.m. So definitely come on out if you're even thinking about home ownership. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to start, especially if you don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. Come on out, because again, we do offer our free credit service there and credit restoration. We do credit rescoring, reviewing of income, assets, and credit. If you do want to know, do I qualify for any down payment assistance programs or grants? We consider it a time to really set you on a home ownership plan. So that's really what we call that session. So you can be 12 months out, 24 months out, 6 months out, no matter where you are in your journey. Like I stated, the entire conversation, it's best to have a plan. So setting someone on that plan is something that we offer for free, and we encourage everyone to not leave the seminar until you have received an individual plan.
Got you. So that's need to make it to one of those.
Yes, come on out. So it's June 6th, 11 to 2 p.m. My office is in Columbia, Maryland. I didn't mention that. McArthur Realty Group is located in Columbia, Maryland. 9256 Bendix Road. We're Suite 208. I have 3,000 square feet of commercial space in Columbia. Everyone loves it. It's beautiful.
As well. Very beautiful. I walked in like, this is a real, like a brokerage? Like, what is this? Very beautiful.
So come on out. That's where we host everything. And then on June 9th is our summer business networking mixer. That is from 5 to 8 p.m. Right now, I believe we have 80 plus businesses registered. So if you're a local business owner, you're thinking about being a business owner, if you even woke up with a thought of entrepreneurship, on June 9th, come on out to the event. It's always a great space. We have tons of sponsors, and we are offering free headshots.
Yep, I was about to say that. Make sure the headshots.
Get the free headshots.
Free food. Like, the food is always good. It's usually a caterer or something.
Yes, so it's always a caterer. We have someone bringing their desserts from their dessert business to showcase. But we have our headshots sponsored by Cash Captured this session. And she did our last session, and everyone adored their headshots. So we always are good with the headshots, like you said.
Pretty much. I be using my headshots. My little free headshot. You can't tell me nothing.
It's a professional headshot. So use it for your branding, your business cards, everything. If you don't come out for anything else, come out and get a free headshot.
And come headshot ready, too.
Yes, right? Come ready.
I know the person that invited me, Sarita. Shout out to Sarita.
Yeah, shout out to her. Yes, we love her.
Right, for sure. Love Mixers.
Yes, shout out to Love Mixers. Love Mixers has been out to my house to the parties also.
Right, yeah, she bartended one time.
She bartended,
I saw the pictures of it.
Yeah, so I'm very big on supporting our community. So I'm very true to, if you come out to our business mixes, you share your business, put a business card in my hand. and I will definitely support. So I'm really, really big on, I don't just talk it. I try my best to support as much as I can. I show my face for other people. I support other people. I pay also. So come on out. It's not always sponsored.
Right.
But yeah, so
those you definitely supported me because I was a sponsor one time and I, talked about my podcast and here she is supporting my podcast. I am today.
So
I asked you was like, of course I'll come.
Of course,
what kind of question is that?
Yes, so, always. Yeah, so appreciate it. I definitely try my best to practice what I preach. Anytime that my schedule is available, then I try to be there as much as possible. But those are our big upcoming events, and like I said, our business networking mixers are quarterly. So our next event will be in September. We keep them on the calendar. This is our 9th free business networking mixer. So we have been very consistent, and we have been doing the free first-time homebuyer seminars for 3 years every single
quarterly,
month.
Right? They both are quarterly, or
the first-time homebuyer seminars are monthly.
Monthly. Oh.
Every single month, we are there educating our community on home ownership, talking down payment assistance programs, grants, and setting people on these home ownership plans, allowing them to do the free credit review, all of the things. So we have a lender on the spot. We have our title sponsor on the spot. If you have any questions about title things, sometimes people come and maybe they don't own a property, but their family has a property that they may be looking to inherit. We have a title person there, all free, that you can come out to. A few times a year, I typically will do a real estate investment seminar. Our last one just passed in January, so keep your eye on the calendar for that. I usually will add that back if you're interested in being a real estate investor. And I also do my financial literacy seminars, which are the 7 steps to financial freedom. People typically love them as well. If you're looking to learn how to invest, how to save, how to budget, how to overall get your finances in order, and just learn some of those best practices, then I do those as well. And I did not mention that 2 years ago, I developed a Google automated template. So it allows you to put in all of your debt, all of your credit cards, your gas, electric bill, whatever that may be, and it will automate your debt payoff date for you. So it will tell you based off of your interest rate, your minimum payments, all of the things. I know I got a lot of jobs.
I feel like you're like, right. She's like, but wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. We're not done.
Yeah, so at my financial freedom seminars, I will typically showcase and show everyone how to use the automated template, how to input their information. It comes with instructions, all of those things. I do sell it online for $19.99, so it's very reasonable. It's a one-time download. You can use it over and over again. It will do the snowball method, the avalanche method. So it will literally, even if you want to save, you can plug in, I want to save $10,000 by next year. It will now automate on how much you need to put into the savings accounts. The only thing I will say, it will not put the money in there for you. You do have to do the work.
True. I wish, if only.
Yes. But it will give you step-by-step on exactly what to pay first. It'll tell you what credit card to pay off first, how much to pay, if you want to put anything extra. It will literally automate your debt payoff date. You can spread it as quickly as you want to, or as far out as you want to. If you're only able to make minimum payments, that's fine as well. It will just say on these cards, if you only make the minimum payment, this is the date all of these cards will be paid off. So people love to see that as well. But it is automated, and it's something that I created 2 years ago, and people love it. Actually was just out in a school in Prince George's County, and I'm a vendor for the school. So they had a financial literacy presentation for all of the parents, and we had maybe 30 parents come out, and the school gifted a template to every parent that attended. So things like that is what I love, to be able to even have the tools for the school to gift to the parents. Yes.
That's awesome. But wait, there's more. So I know. Thank you so much. I don't even want it to end. I'm just like, just keep going.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I have one last question I'd always ask all of my guests, but we are definitely at the end. If you could write a letter to your younger self, what would that letter say? So this is before you had the doctor in front of your name. You were just little Ebony. What would you tell her?
That's an interesting question. and I do typically have the answers for everything, but I may have to think on that a little
bit. You can think. It's fine. Take your time.
But what I would possibly tell myself is that you can achieve all things through Christ. And, not only has my faith taken me this far through my journey, but when you have so much white noise around you, you have to keep yourself motivated. And one thing that I always say about myself is that I pride myself in being self-motivated because I have to encourage myself every day. And I feel like sometimes we don't have young people that do that as much. And they often hear so much negativity that they speak that into themselves instead of speaking life into themselves. And it really is true that, hard work beats talent. So if you feel like you don't have all the talent, work hard. Continue to work hard. Stay consistent and just keep your faith present. So I really do believe that I can do all things through Christ, who continues to strengthen me every single day and be my backbone and be the head of my life. And I would probably just tell myself that because that's the first thing that came to my mind, that I can do anything that my mind puts, anything that comes to my mind that
you can do.
Through Christ, I can definitely achieve those things with strong faith and so forth. And just believing in myself and believing that I can, get the things done with hard work, because I always like to reiterate that. But that's probably the main thing I would say to myself, is just continue to affirm myself and stay strong in my faith.
I love it. That's a perfect little ending. I love that. Thank you. And we'll have Dr. Ebony back because she's going to have like 20 more businesses by tomorrow. So we're going to bring her right back.
Yes. And the last thing I do want to add that I always say on my podcast is check on your strong friends. That's something my son and I have been saying. Sometimes people see you as that strong person. If you have not done so this week, call up someone that you deem as that strong friend, that you think they have the strength, and you think that, everybody checks on people that they deem to be a little weaker. But if you have someone that is always a go-getter and they're out there doing their thing, they don't ask for much, they always are helping someone, give them a call this week and check on them and make sure that their mental health is in place. So if you don't do anything else this week, check on one of your strong friends.
I like that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Ebony, for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
It was awesome. Like I said, I learned so much. I'm definitely going to rewatch it some more. Well, thank you, and hopefully, I don't know. That was a lot.
I will be back.
I need her back. Like, y'all want her back? Because I need her back. I'm seeing her like, dang, I feel like we're just getting started.
Yes, I will be back. And, I can bring one of my kids. I can bring my husband. We can take this
apart too. Yes. Everything. Right. I love this. Oh, thank you again. And definitely check in 2 weeks. We'll be back for another episode of Be True with Rue. And again, thank you. I can't thank you enough. She dropped so many jewels. Like, I swear to God, I'm going to probably watch this episode several times. I usually always watch my episodes again, but I got to watch it with a notepad this time. But thank you.
Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
All right. See y'all later. I love you. Bye-bye.